Good morning. Got my enjoy every moment mug. I pretty much just choose my mugs by my mood. Works perfectly for me. Okay. Day 3 of the mind. So we are going to talk about the thoughts that come up that are there to be witnessed and healed. And this is where I'm going to share with you, and I have a couple of my one-on-one clients that I've shared this with, so this may be a repeat for a couple of you. But I have my own personal tools and techniques that I use that have made the biggest difference for me. And I would say this is top 3, if not the very top one that has changed my life. And I call it inviting to the table. So here's how this works. You have a thought arise. And it is a wounded thought. It is, so we talked a little bit about those thoughts that are, if only I was more beautiful, then I would be loved. Okay? It is how we know that it's a thought that needs to be witnessed and healed is if it is coming from our little selves. If you feel that thought and immediately feel like a child or a teenager, which is kind of funny because a couple of you are teenagers. Bless your hearts. Love you guys. You're my favorites. But if you feel like you're anywhere between 2 years old and like 16 or something, then this is usually a piece of you that has not integrated. It hasn't grown up the rest of the way. Okay? So here's what I do with these thoughts. So I'm going to tell you my own personal one that was torturous for me and that finally healed through this process. I had a belief for as long as I could remember. I mean, this one started when I was very, very young, that no matter what I did, it was not enough. Okay? So many times, no matter what I do, it's never enough. So this would play out in various ways. To this day, I have a hard time with vacuuming because my dad, bless his heart, after I would vacuum, he'd come along and find every tiny little piece of lint that was still there and make me do it again and again. And it just increased this. No matter what I do, it's never enough. And it was torturous. I feel so bad for the men I was in relationships with because this is something that would come splurging out of my mouth all the time. It was like, my martyr, my victim, my pain. But it was a deep wound that I had in me. So about 2 years ago, right about that time, I couldn't take it anymore, honestly. And it came up at the worst time. I was getting my hair done, okay? I was getting my hair done, and I actually don't remember the trigger. Yes, I do. I got a text message from somebody close to me that was basically upset with something that I had not done right. And totally was hit with this huge, no matter what I do, it's never enough feeling came over me. And I was just finishing up my hair appointment, so I went in my car and I just sat there and I was like, I'm so sick of trying to get over this. It never works. I'm going to do something different this time. So I asked myself the question, how old am I right now? This piece of me that hurts so bad right now, how old am I right now? And 4 years old is what came up. 4.5 to be more specific. I was 4.5. I was a hurting little girl. So I closed my eyes, sat in my car, kind of closed my eyes and pictured a scene where I, as an adult, was sitting up to a table and eating dinner. And there was a knock on the door. And when I opened it, it was my 4.5-year-old self. I had no idea how it was going to go. This was just some idea I had because I love visualizations. So I opened the door and there's my 4.5-year-old self. I know what she looks like because exactly like this, but 4. And of course, I have pictures of myself from that age. So instead of saying, I don't have time for you, get away from here, I said, hey, I'm just about to have dinner. Come sit at the table with me. Come up to the table. So this little self of mine climbs up next to me at this dinner table. And I said, help yourself to whatever you want. And what is it that you need, sweetheart? What is it that you want to say? So this little 4.5-year-old self instantly starts whining. And instead of me saying, okay, stop your whining, I say, I just let her whine. And she starts going on and on about how she always does it wrong, how it's never enough, that what she does is never enough. And I asked her, what makes you think that? And she proceeded to tell a story that was very, very painful. And it was a story about when I was kind of put in between my parents when I was little, and it didn't go well. The choice that I made created a lot of pain for both of my parents. And so at that point, my little 4.5-year-old self decided that no matter what she would ever do, it would never be the right thing. It would never be enough. It would never work. And so I basically just listened and then kind of spoke from a place of my adult self and was like, you know what? I don't blame you for feeling that way. That's a really logical decision for a 4-year-old to make. And let me tell you my perspective now that I'm a grown-up. Here's how I see it. And I basically had a conversation with that part of myself sitting up to the table. Well, I end up sitting in my car at the hair salon, crying my eyes out, feeling so much healing, hugging my little self to me at that dinner table. And now that is a belief that actually has faded from me. It doesn't come up anymore. I don't believe that anymore. I don't believe that no matter what I do, it's never enough. That's not the filter through which everything goes. But that piece of me needed to be witnessed. It needed to be heard. It needed to be addressed. And it needed to be addressed at the age that it first came up. Now I get that this is imagination. And this isn't something that is easy for everybody or even works for everybody. But for those of you that it does, please try it. And when I'm in a moment, okay? So let's say I'm in a moment where I don't have time to sit in my car for half an hour and visualize and sob. So I'm in a moment where I need to bring my best self to the table and I get triggered because a thought comes in that's there to be witnessed and healed, but I can't, it's not an appropriate moment to do that. So then what I do, some of you know about EFT, right? Tapping. So I tap. For me, it's right here, but wherever works for you. And I say, and I bring myself up to my current age before I speak or act. So painful thought comes up, triggered thought that needs to be witnessed and healed. And I kind of go, I promise, I say to the thought, I promise I will witness and heal you as soon as I can. But right now I have to be this age to be powerful in what I'm dealing with. So I'll tap and so I'm 49, right? So I'll go, I'm 49. I'm 49. And at first it will feel false because there's a piece of my body saying, I'm 8. No, I'm 49. I'm 49. And I do that until it feels true that I'm my current age. And I bring myself into the present moment with the promise to my own mind, to my own psyche, that I will witness and address that as soon as it's an appropriate time. So these two tools, this inviting to the table and this bringing myself to my current age are two of my favorite tools that I use a lot. And they're so beautiful and so simple. Okay? When we're trying to get behind what's happening in our mind, seeing it and being aware of it is the very first step. And then what? Because people ask me all the time, okay, but how do I do that? How do I do that? And I'm giving you the how right now. I'm giving you the what. Oh, this is a thought. So how to know it's a thought that needs to be witnessed and healed is that the thought feels like it's coming from a very young you. Usually it will be a repetitive thought that you've had many times. You may have to catch it like a streaker, and then you get to witness and heal it by inviting it to the table. I really hope this makes sense. It may seem a little woo-woo. It may seem, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do that visualization or have that imagination. If any of you need help with this, come do a session with me, okay? Because I'm really good at walking people through this process. And I'm still, as of right now, which is September 2018, I'm still doing one-on-one sessions. So come see me and I'll walk you through this if you can't do it, for yourself. But it's a really, really beautiful and powerful process. And it's a reminder to yourself that there's room for all of you. At that table, at your table, there's room for every age. Sometimes I just picture my if it's a baby, I'm usually holding her, my 1-year-old self in a high chair, my 2-year-old self, 3-year-old self, 4-year-old self. There's room for all of it, right? All of your wound, all of your heartache, all of the pieces of you get to be seen. They get to be witnessed. They get to be heard. They get to be spoken to, communicated with, and loved. And when that happens, they integrate back into you, and you get to be every age in a healthy, beautiful, wonderful way. All right? So that's that part of the mind. I love you guys. May your coffee be strong and your life be blessed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. It really helps out my channel. And if you would be interested in working with me further, you can check out DawniAngel.com. I would love to come speak to your group, come to your business to do a training, be on your podcast, my personal favorite, or even work with you one-on-one.